Hey, what's up everybody? Welcome back to the EDH video. Today's video we're doing a deck tech on Svyelun of Sea and Sky. First, link in the description. Join the Discord to play EDH games with me and other cool people. Also, don't forget to like, subscribe, and comment down below if you like this video. But yeah, let's get right into it. Svyelun of Sea and Sky. It's a 1 generic, 2 blue legendary creature, Merfolk God. This is my final monocolor deck. By the way, I know I kind of cut in the middle of that, but she is indestructible if you control at least two other Merfolk, and whenever she attacks, you draw a card. And other Merfolk you control have Ward 1, and she's a 3/4 for the 3, so she's already OP. Anyways, I kind of built this deck to just like, I know it's gonna sound so stereotypical in mono blue, but I literally built it to counter everybody else's stuff. But I mean, she doesn't read like that because you're just gonna draw us cards, but Ward is an ability that lets if it's targeted, if they don't pay the 1, the spell gets countered, which goes along with one of the cards in here I'll talk about. But I mean the amount of times people just pay the 1 is ridiculous. I mean, you know, it's so much easier to pay 1 than it is to pay like 3 or 4. But yeah, let's get right into the deck tech. So first up, we got Ramp. I don't have Jeweled Lotus in here anymore because, you know, it's banned. But I have Soul Ring, Arc Insignia, and Thought Vessel. Thought Vessel to have no maximum hand size. Yes, I will be drawing a lot of cards. I know it doesn't look like it. There's not a whole lot of card draw, but my commander draws cards, and I also have Roaming Throne, so I'll be drawing 2 cards off that. Yeah, there's not a whole lot of card draw in here, it being mono blue, but next we got Herald's Horn, makes our stuff cost 1 less. Stony Book Banner makes our stuff cost 1 less, and Sapphire Medallion makes our stuff cost 1 less. It's not ramp, but it can effectively make our spells cost, like we can save multiple mana per turn, so I kind of counted it. Same with Urza's Incubator at 3 mana. I'm obviously going to choose Merfolk, and creature spells of the chosen type cost 2 less to cast. This works for other opponents' stuff too, but who's going to be playing Merfolk against me? Anyways, let's get to the draw. Draw is pretty much, so my commander is 1. Brainstorm isn't really a draw, it's more of a cantrip, but I put it in here anyways because it does say draw. Crashing Tide is a bounce spell, but it will also let us draw. Kind of a cantrip as well, replaces itself. It has flash if we have a Merfolk. And it's not the best, but it's a draw spell. Distant Melody, we can draw for each Merfolk we control, which is a lot usually. Herald's Horn will let us look at the top card and put it into our hand if it's a Merfolk. And then Preordained is basically a cantrip, but we can kind of look at 3 cards. Scry, if we don't want them, we can put them on the bottom. Riverwise Augur is another one of the kind of, it's kind of like a cantrip but on a creature. And then Scroll Thief, whenever we deal combat damage to a player with Scroll Thief, it deals, we draw a card. And the Seafloor Oracle will give our Merfolk the scroll ability. And then Silver Gill Adept enters and draws a card in, and we can, if we reveal a Merfolk card, we can have it come for its original cost. And Spreading Seas is enters, draw a card, and then Tidal Courier lets us put a Merfolk from the top 4 into our hand. And then Mystic Remora is the, you know, stereotypical, whenever a opponent casts a non-creature spell, we draw a card. Yeah, basically just draw cards. Yeah. Anyways, Counter You. This is my Counterspell list. Yeah, I know a lot of them are not good, but we got Arcane Denial, Counterspell, Fierce Guardianship. Just pretty much all pretty solid counterspells. Counterspell is just a counterspell. Arcane Denial draws us a card, also draws our opponent a card. Fierce Guardianship is free if we control Svyelun. The spell counters a counterspell. Foil can be free if we discard an island and another card, and then Force of Will can be free if we pay 1 life and exile a card from our hand. All counterspells, of course, we like to counter stuff. I like to counter stuff. It's mono blue. Force Denial, it's 5 mana. We're probably like rarely ever gonna cast this, not gonna lie. I've cast it before and it was actually pretty good. Mana Drain adds mana, and then Low Mage Mentor is the card that will let me counter by tapping Merfolk. Muddle the Mixture, we can transmute it to search for something, but can also counter an instant or sorcery. Negate will counter a non-creature spell, and then Tasha's can enter and counter up to 1 target activated or trigger ability, but it's also a Merfolk, so I have it in here. It's not really that great. Medallion Hexcatcher will let us sacrifice a Merfolk and somebody counter a non-target creature or a non-creature spell unless its controller pays 1. Sorry, I'm kind of struggling to read that. Sublime Epiphany, we can pay 6 and counterspell and do a bunch of other stuff. Again, we're only going to cast it if we have like multiple targets there. Adaptive Automaton enters, choose a creature, Merfolk. This is, yep, Merfolk. Aquatic Incursion. Enters the battlefield. Create 2 Merfolk. Yep, Merfolk. Corlhelm Commander. Other Merfolk. And then Deep Channel Mentor makes our stuff cast or unblockable if they're blue, which all of them are pretty much blue except for some of the artifact creatures that buff our stuff. And then Deep Root Pilgrimage, whenever you cast it, or whenever a Merfolk you become tapped, you create a 1/1. And the other one is whenever you cast Drown Our Secrets. Whenever you tap a untapped Merfolk you control, you can target player puts the top card of his or her library into the graveyard. And then Emperor Mahal lets us look at the top card and play Merfolk spells. And then Ink Fathom lets us rearrange the top 4. Kapala makes our stuff cost 2 more to be targeted, and Lord Atlantis makes our stuff unblockable. Island Walk gives it +1/+1. Low Mage Mentor again creates 1/1s whenever we counter stuff, and then we can tap 7 Merfolk to counter stuff, so we can just keep countering everybody's stuff. Master Pro tried it 1/1, and Island Walk makes our stuff unblockable. Merfolk Sovereign 1/1 and can make something unblockable, and then Merrow Commerce will untap all of our Merfolk at the end of our turn. And then Merrow Harbinger will search for a Merfolk, and Merrow Urgery will give other Merfolk +1/+1. And then whenever we cast a Merfolk spell, we can untap or tap target permanent. Mistcloaked Herald is a 1/1 unblockable for 1. River Snake can't be blocked, and then it'll get +1/+1 for whenever a Merfolk enters. And then Roaming Throne will double our triggers of our Merfolk. Scroll Reef is a Merfolk that'll let us deal damage and draw a card. It's also 1/3. Not a big deal there. It's 1/3. It's hard to block, and I don't know what I'm saying. The Seafloor Oracle lets us draw cards. I think these were all saw in the previous sections, but they're Merfolk, so they have to be in the Merfolk section as well. Enters, draws a card, Silver Gold Depth, and then the other one makes stuff. 1 less to cast. Streambait Aquatics can make something Island Walk, and then also make something an island. And then Tempest Color taps all the creatures our opponent's controls. And then Thotadel will steal an artifact from their library. That's the Oracle. Everybody knows what this card does. It's not. There's no demonic consultation in here. I'm mono blue, but it's a Merfolk, so also a wizard, which counts, I guess. Tidal Core is top 4. Put on Merfolk cards. It can also get flying for 4. Nobody's gonna ever do that. Tishana's Tidebinder again counters. It's also a Merfolk. Medallion Hexcatcher +1/+1, and also the counter stuff. And then Wonder Wine Prophets will give us extra turns if we sacrifice our Merfolk whenever it deals combat damage to a player. Next up, we got Tutor. So Tutors, Sea Hunter, Muddled Mixture, Merrow Harbinger. Which Sea Hunter is probably the better one of the Tutors because you can do it multiple times. And Muddled Mixture, you can only transmute and get one thing, and then Merrow Harbinger, same thing, but it puts it on top. And then Wizard Cycling off of the Step Through. You can also bounce stuff for 5 mana, which we never want to do, but the Wizard Cycling, we can go find our Low Mage Mentor to get counters. Resculpt is a removal spell. Exile target artifact or creature. Cyclonic Rift, we all know what that does. Rapid Hybridization, I'm pretty sure everybody knows what that does. Hybridization, I can't ever pronounce it. Hybridization. Some Voda bounces all these stuff that is not a Merfolk, Kraken, Leviathan, Octopus, or Serpent. Reigns of Power is a win con in here, which you can just gain control of all of your opponent's stuff and then swing with their stuff and your stuff, I think. Well, no, just your stuff. Time Stretch will give us an extra turn. 2 extra turns, I think. Get Buff. We got Adaptive Automaton, +1/+1 to all the Merfolk. Brass Herald, +1/+1 to all the Merfolk. And then whenever it enters, you can put all the creature cards from the chosen type revealed this way into your hand from the top 4. And then Coat of Arms, we know what Coat of Arms does. Corehelm Commander, you can pay some mana into it and give your other Merfolk +1/+1, Master and Pearl Trident, +1/+1 Island Walk, Merfolk Sovereign. I feel like I've done all this before in a previous sector, but +1/+1, Lord of Atlantis, +1/+1, Icon of His Ancestry, +1/+1, but you can also tap 3 and tap it to look at the top 3 and reveal a Merfolk and put it into your hand. Obelisk Guard, you can convoke it, but you can also just choose a creature type. It's for 6 mana, and you can +2/+2 your Merfolk. Medallion Hexcatcher, +1/+1, also Saga Merfolk, and counter a spell if they don't pay 1. And then Mirror Trees is +1/+1. I think I've done this all before. You probably know. Probably very redundant, but I figured I would put them in here anyways because why not? Next up, we got lands. There's not too much variety here. 27 islands, Cavern of Souls, and a Riptide Laboratory. There's a good amount of wizards in here. Yeah, I know it's not a wizards deck, but there is wizards in here, so I feel like Riptide Laboratory is a good add. Because I mean, it taps for colors, yeah. So we not if we draw it and we only have that and like another island, and we don't draw another island, it's kind of screwed. But like, I feel like being able to return like a good wizard to our hand is better than just having an island. Um, I haven't really thought about the mana base past the Cavern of Souls and Riptide Laboratory. That's why there's 27 islands, and that's how the deck is always just played. Yes, I only have 29 lands. I know it's kind of low, but it's mono-colored, and it plays well, and I've never had a problem with it, really. So, I mean, I probably have, and I probably demonstrated in a video, but I like the way it plays and don't really care if I lose a game with it because it's literally just mono blue Merfolk that, like, if I get a low mage mentor out and I have like a deep root pilgrimage, I think it's called, and then the other one that whenever a Merfolk becomes tapped, I create a Merfolk. I can just pretty much counter everybody's stuff on their turns. And then there is a Wanderwine Prophet with the card that I'll put on screen right here, combo in here. So, but you have to make the Wanderwine Prophets unblockable, which is possible in here, but I don't know. It just gets all complex and stuff. You can take infinite turns, but if you don't have anybody to attack, you can't take infinite turns, if that makes sense. Like if there's you can't get through, you can't, it makes sense. It makes sense if it makes sense. Okay. But yeah, if you guys enjoyed the video, leave a like, subscribe, comment down below that this is probably an okay Merfolk deck and that it's not the best it can be, and but I'm still proud of it. It's one of my favorite monocolored decks. I should probably say that. I used to play this deck a lot. I stopped playing it because it was really just too hard to achieve my low mage mentor thing, and it kind of got boring when I did achieve it because Tyler would just be sitting there being like, well, I can't play anything. You're just going to tap 21 Merfolk and counter the 3 spells I can play this turn. And nobody wants to play against that. But in a 4-player pod, I've never actually played in a 4-player pod, but I imagine it would probably do pretty good. But anyways, sorry, I just keep rambling on. If you guys want to see actual footage of this deck being played, this exact deck being played, minus the Jewel Lotus in the videos, there is Jewel Lotus in it, but since it got banned, I cannot play it. So it actually has like a Lightning Greaves in it, which is not in the list because I didn't know where to put Lightning Greaves, but I do have a Lightning Greaves in here. That is something to note. There's Lightning Greaves in here because I didn't know what else to put in there, and it was whatever. But yeah. Link in the description for those gameplays, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace.